Hey YouTube, today we're going to talk about another company that I'm very fond of, and that company is Wilson Combat. And a little disclaimer before I get too far into this: Wilson Combat did not ask me to do this. Wilson Combat does not send me stuff. They didn't send me anything here on this table or anything. I just picked a company. I've done this a couple times with a couple firearm companies that I'm fond of, and I'm not a historian, so if I say anything that's incorrect, I'm going to pre-apologize right now. But I just very fond of this company, and I want everybody to know a little bit about them, how they got started, and how they got to where they are today. So what we're going to talk about today is Wilson Combat. And Wilson Combat was started by a man named Bill Wilson, and he was a firearm enthusiast, and he grew up in a family that was in the jewelry business. And he became a watchmaker, which I'm also pretty fond of watches. And he started learning how to repair watches. And his real passion was in firearms. He liked competition shoot and everything like that. And he figured that if he could figure out how to fix a watch, he could figure out how to fix guns. So he started taking Colt 1911s and modifying them. And what he would do, he would take them and he would improve them. He'd tighten the tolerances up to them and everything like that. And it went from there. So he started a gun store in the back of his family's jewelry business. It was called Wilson's Gun Shop. Pretty innovative name, huh? Wilson's Gun Shop. And he started taking in guns and modifying them here and there. And by the time 1980s came around, he started figuring out how to manufacture parts himself. And he would order parts that he needed, and he started manufacturing them. And one of the things that Wilson Combat first did is I'm going to use this one here as an example. They started putting a commander style hammer on a government size 1911. I guess I could use this one here as more of an example. They started putting the commander size hammer. Well, the problem is Colt was the only one that made that commander style hammer, and he would order as many of them as he could get, and they just couldn't keep up with the demand on it. So he figured out how to manufacture this stuff himself, and he started making 1911 parts. Well, fast forward into, I believe, the 1990s, they were manufacturing guns completely in-house. Now, let me tell you about Wilson Combat, folks. They are expensive. I mean, you're going to pay a little bit of money when you buy a Wilson Combat pistol, rifle, anything that you get. They're expensive. But what you get is 100% quality. I mean, there is none better out there. There's several manufacturers of high-end custom-to-order firearms, and I think this company is the best. I've dealt with them many times, never had a problem. Their customer service is absolutely unmatched. If you have any problems with any of their products, I mean, they make it right and they do it quickly. So what we have here, all these guns right here on this table are not loaded. They were all safety checked before this video got turned on, but as I picked them up, I'll show you that they're not loaded. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, what they're really known for. Wilson Combat, this is the only firearm on this table that I do not own. A good friend of mine is loaning me this. I did a video on it, so I figured I would include it in this video. Everything else here is mine. So what they do here is they build from scratch. They build the frame and the slide of a 1911, and they hand fit these things together by the top gunsmiths in the world. And the tolerances to a Wilson Combat is unsurpassed. To show you that there's nothing in this gun here real quick. And what you get when you get a Wilson Combat pistol, you get the best. There is no kind of play or anything in them. They use all match grade barrels. They hand fit these bushings to the barrel, and I mean, everything is perfect on them, down to every little niche and cranny on this. See the checkering on the front of this slide and all that, or on the front of this front strap. Every part is made in-house by Wilson Combat, all in the United States. They're located in Berryville, Arkansas, as you can see right here on the side. Top quality pistols, folks. I mean, the accuracy is more accurate than any of me or any of you guys will ever be able to shoot, and you're not gonna find a finer pistol. This one here is a Wilson Combat Protector, full size, 5-inch, 1911. Now, one of the things that Wilson Combat has figured out over the years is how to make a 1911 run by reducing the size to it. Nobody else has ever figured that out before they did, and they created what they call, this is the professional model, and they make other sizes here, folks. They make Commanders, which is a 4 1/4. This is a 4-inch barrel. They make officer size Wilson Combats, and they put the research, the time, and the development into it to figure out how to make it work. But the timing's correct. The original 1911 was meant to be fired in a full-size, government-size frame. And anytime in the past, before Wilson Combat came along, anybody started modifying this stuff, they usually run into reliability issues. Let me tell you, folks, nothing is more reliable than these pistols here. I'm going to show you this one's not loaded. And this one's a little bit of a souped up one. This has got about every option you can have on a Wilson Combat. They do things like this fluted barrel right here. They put these carry cuts on them. They flush cut the barrel and crown it, where it's absolutely amazing. If you look, they've dehorned every edge to this gun, so there's no sharp edges anywhere around on it. They do their own ammo safeties, where they have ambidextrous on each side. If you listen to how tactile this is, it's unbelievable. They do all their own serrations on top. They checker everything. They make this one-piece magwell where it looks like it's part of the frame to a gun. I mean, everything on this thing's a masterpiece. It's just unbelievable what they do. And when you order something like this, I'm going to show you something of a little bit boring stuff here. Inside the gun bag, when you get it, you get a checkoff sheet here. And every single person that did everything on these guns initials it, and all the dates are on here that this was all checked off and everything like that. So if anything ever goes wrong with that, these people can be held accountable. The exact person that did it, when they did it, all the way down to the final inspection down here where they check the operation of it. What you also get here is the actual test target and the date that the test fire was done, who did it, and exactly what ammunition that they used did it, how far away it was. They do it from a bench rest, I believe, and that is the pattern that this particular pistol shot. It's unbelievable, folks, and every Wilson Combat pistol comes in one of these range bags here, and it has a little dog tag that actually matches the serial number of your pistol. And this is a usable item here, folks. This isn't some stupid cardboard box or plastic box that people covet. You actually can use this for the range. You know, it has places for your magazines here and places on the back for ammunition or whatever have you here. It's a really neat concept that they do. But Wilson Combat does other things besides 1911 pistols. They're mainly known for these 1911 pistols, and they are premium pistols, and they are the best. There is none better. Every product they do, it seems like what they do is they figure out what problems are, and they solve them. So let's take, for example, these magazines here. 1911s have reliability issues when it comes to magazines. Normally, it's not the gun. It's always going to be the magazines. And Wilson Combat developed this. Wilson Combat, this is the ones that I use. These are the 7-round 47Ds. And they create their own follower. They're just the best. If you're going to have a problem with a 1911, always turn to the magazine first and use one of these things. Use one of these Wilson Combat magazines. If it won't run this one, there's something wrong with the gun. Because these things are 100% reliable. I have tons of these things, and they cost a lot more than a regular GI style 1911 magazine. But why wouldn't you pay more if you know something's going to work? It's handcrafted together, and they are the best. They also make magazines for like ARs. They make rifle magazines here, folks, and they have great followers in them. They're 100% reliable. They do cost more than metal GI magazines, but once again, what you're paying for is quality. They put the time, effort, and research. They have to buy the millions of dollars with the machines, and that gets passed on to the consumer, which is you and I. And I don't complain a bit about it. They have things such as like these silicone injected cloths here. I swear by these things. When you're done cleaning your weapon, you just sit there and wipe these things down with this silicone injected cloth, and I'm telling you what, the gun looks brand new. It isn't all greasy and oily and everything like that. Just simple things like this that they figured out. Now, they also manufacture AR-15s. This is a Wilson Combat AR-15. I have videos on every one of these weapons here, but just there's no sharp edges. It's everything just matches up so good. If you look at all these controls and everything like that, it just looks like it was made right, and this thing was put together like a masterpiece, just like their pistols are here. Now, one of the things they do, and I'm going to use this as an example of them fixing problems. Bill Wilson, from what I've read up on him, he was a big Colt guy, and his buddy Ken Hackathorn was a Smith & Wesson guy, and I've seen a couple YouTube videos of them playing around, arguing over which one's better, and Bill Wilson's a shooter, and everybody always says the Colt Python goes out of time, and I think it's mainly a myth, but they can, he explains how he took one of his Colt Pythons, he has like 100,000 rounds through, and he did something to it, and it fixed whatever the problem was, and he has shot the everlasting crap out of that gun, and he shows it off in one of his YouTube videos for the Wilson Combat channel. Well, when these new Colts came out, and this is a newer Colt, this is an Anaconda here, but this is when they came out, he said he went and got one immediately because he was a Colt Python fan. I know this isn't a Python, but it's the same thing. It's an Anaconda. He said everything about that gun, the trigger pull and everything was cool. It was a real good trigger for a factory-made gun, but the rear sight was a no-go. And he was right. It came with this crappy sight that you have to have this stupid little Allen head tool, and it has an Allen head screw in it to adjust it, and it wasn't included with the gun, and that's on Colt there, folks. For them to make such a fine firearm like this and not even put the tool to adjust the sight with it, and if you did have it, you'd lose it because it's about the size of a hair. So what Bill Wilson did is he came up with a sight to fit on the new Python. If you can see, it says Wilson Combat right there, and it's not the cheapest thing in the world. It's around $125 for one of these things, but there's no play whatsoever in this sight to frame fit here, and everything's real tactile when you adjust it, and all you need is a regular screwdriver on it. But he came up with that, and that fixes these new Colt revolvers. Folks, I can't say enough good things about this company. I mean, everything they have is top notch, and you got to understand, they make stuff like this. This is licensed under it. This is a Wilson Combat watch that I have. That's how much I like these people, and it's really cool. Because on the back, it says Wilson Combat on your side since 1977. Just a neat little thing to have. I'm a watch guy. I like to wear watches, like cool watches. And this is an automatic watch. I think it's made by a company called Bernhardt Watch Company. And they put the Wilson Combat logo on the dial and everything like that. And it's just a really neat little thing. But I can't say enough good stuff about this company, folks. I mean, it's just top notch. And I know people will sit there and complain about the prices of these 1911s here and saying you can buy a $500 1911 that'll do the same thing. I mean, they're sort of right. If you're just an average shooter that goes to the range once a year and you're going to shoot a paper target at 7 yards inside of an air-conditioned range, sure, they'll both put holes in them. These are reliable, folks. These are built right. These are built all forged construction by hand by the best gunsmiths, and these things are accurate. I mean, look at this target here. I promise you're not going to take a $500 gun and put it at 15 yards and put it in a bench rest. It's not going to do it, folks. It's not going to do it. And if you're serious about stuff like this and you have pride of ownership and the stuff that you own, this is a great, I hate to say investment, but investment. You're investing in yourself. If you take something and you do a knockoff version of it or something like that and tell everybody it's just as good as a Wilson, the reason you're saying it's just as good as a Wilson is you know that the Wilson Combats are the best. But anyway, folks, I wanted to do a quick rundown on another company, another firearm company I'm very fond of. They make accessories for everything. You can buy any part for a 1911. You can buy any AR-15 part. You can buy springs for revolvers. You can buy sights for all these guns. You can buy magazines, very reliable magazines. Just anything. Cleaning supplies. You can buy. They make their own ammunition there. It's just a 100% great company with great people working for it that gives you great customer satisfaction. Have any questions on Wilson Combat, folks? I don't work for them. They don't endorse me, but I've had a lot of dealings with them, and I'll be happy to answer anything you have, any questions you have. But anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching my video today, and you folks have a great day.